we spoke about it before. Like you want to give someone a feeling, you want to make them feel a certain way, and if someone naturally just goes and go, "Hey, I feel daggy as hell," then that's a feeling that
they don't want.
And look, it's not that it's no longer like a price issue as well. It's now like, okay, I'm paying to be a dag.
Devore Fidelity, the show partner of Not An Audiophile, the podcast. Devore Fidelity has become one of the most acclaimed high-end companies in the world, and having heard the loudspeakers many times, I know why. They're all still handcrafted in Brooklyn, New York. We love how this iconic brand captures the excitement and breadth of the sound. Nothing brings you closer to the music than Devore Fidelity. For a retailer near you, visit devorefidelity.com. We are back, Not An Audiophile, the podcast, episode 58, season 3. Today we have Atlas Governor back on the show, along with Brad Serhan and myself, to discuss, yes, again, the future of HiFi, but Atlas comes out with some insightful thoughts sprinkled throughout the show. You will need to listen to the end, that I think are very much what the future of HiFi probably needs to be. And of course, our Instagram account is a great way to keep up to date with new episodes and what we're up to. Our YouTube account, Not An Audiophile Podcast, or YouTube channel, is a great place to comment and, of course, even listen to the podcast and see our videos, of which we had a number of them from the recent Vienna High-End show, which are very popular. Well worth a look to see what we saw there, and it was fantastic, as we mentioned before. But yeah, and of course there's Facebook as well. So do keep up, follow, subscribe, like. It all helps. It keeps the wheels of industry turning at Not An Audiophile, the podcast. Now take a listen. So we're back. Again, we speak to Atlas Governor, and yes, also Brad Serhan. Again.
Good morning, Andrew. It's so good to be back again.
To be loved. Ivor Tiefenbrunn.
Yes.
And Julian Verica created a religion in the 70s called Lenehan.
A cult.
A cult. Ivor was about 30. Julian was about 26 or 27 or something.
Excuse me. Yep.
Atlas is older.
Older now,
but he's been at it a few years. So there's always the chance that in 50 years' time, or 45 years' time, you can have it's a horrible thought, isn't it? It does not take, I think, 45... Well, they had a successful business in 5 or 10 years. So do you, judging by what you mentioned earlier. Atlas, tell us about the future of HiFi. You were mentioning that the way it maybe is presented to the potential audience is different.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see the evolution of HiFi, especially in like my lifetime when I got into it like 20 years ago. I sort of introduced to it, and then in my early 20s I really picked it up. But one of the things that I've really noticed is HiFi had largely been a very individualistic hobby. You sort of sit down and you have a listen on your own. And that's how I used to listen to music. And it was kind of like that experience where audiophiles are notoriously renowned for playing the same track over and over again. And I fully get it. I find it really interesting. It's almost like a science experiment, because you'll listen to a song and then you'll change something and you'll be like, the soundstage changes, the reverb changes. But this is one of those things where like HiFi systems are very expensive. And we're going into a world now where it's kind of, the wealth gap is real. And these HiFi systems that we talk of are kind of, it's a wealthy person experience. But we're also seeing is a shift in luxury. The luxury of our world is now perceived as how you spend your time and how you waste your time, especially in sort of like the younger population. And if you're seen in the real world with friends, real friends hanging out, laughing, that's a luxury, because you need to have the time to do it.
Yeah.
And so the reason why I say this is because people are now going outdoors, they're going into bars, and we're seeing this shift of the hi-fi system moving out from the lounge room and then finding its way into restaurants and bars where people are hanging out, they're spending time with each other. So I think hi-fi, to me, it's still going to be, that lounge room setup, but we're going to see these hi-fi systems in bars now, which we did see before. Like we had the Japanese kisser concept.
Yes.
But now, a more contemporary version's coming up.
And what it intrigues me that a little bit, because you sort of hear about it, you see it, and we've touched on it in a previous episode. In fact, a couple of episodes ago, I think it was, we were talking to the Klipsch people, and we got onto the subject of Devon and his OJAS, and I'm speaking as if I know him. I've forgotten his surname.
Turnbull.
Thank you, Atlas, for prompting me on that. Because he's taking good quality listening to a completely different audience, a completely different space, and that's kind of cool. But you're saying this restaurant bar scenario is that instead of really restaurant and bar systems, particularly bar systems, have notoriously been pretty awful in this country, and probably in a lot of countries. Sometimes it's a big sound, but they're PA speakers, they're a bit brusque up close, and generally a lot of people that I know would say they were turned up too loudly. But so that's what I want to understand. So how are people is it a listening experience, or is it just really high quality background music to a conversation and the good times that you were alluding to?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting point. I think right now we're in the sort of, the early stages of the concept, and it's more of a background sound.
Yeah.
You do want it to sound really good. Like you want to have, big full bass. And I should even touch on that. Like a lot of the old systems, or even a lot of systems that are installed now, they're built around like reliability and efficiency.
Yeah.
And you'll look at a lot of the subs that they use in these venues, and they're tuned at like 60 hertz, 70 hertz. They don't have any bass.
Absolutely. As soon as you said that, I was thinking 80 hertz. I mean, they don't. There's no sub bass.
No, and they don't go low. But like, I just finished a system for a venue in the CBD last week, and that goes down to 23 hertz in a coffee shop.
So that's interesting, because there would be people going in there. Sorry to jump in, but I love a jump in. That have never heard sub bass. They think they have because they've got a subwoofer at home, but it doesn't really go below 45. And they play home theatre, movie soundtracks or something through it anyhow. So so is that a part of it? So the sound in that venue, and it's a bigger than a domestic space, obviously, is it? So there's potential to really get some long wavelengths in there, right? So
and they've got the doors open. It's for people who are wondering, it's common supply, and it's on Clarence Street.
Ooh,
but
good ad.
Yeah, no, but I think people should go, because it is cool. Like when you hear and you go in there and you go, well, this sounds different. Like it sounds very, very warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to mark the point before, is like systems will evolve to have more a fuller range. So they'll go down lower. It will have more sparkly highs.
Yes.
That's what we'll see. But to touch on the other thing as well, like with OJAS, that's the other thing is what's happening is that we're doing these curated listening events. People will go into a room, they'll sit down and they'll listen to music. Instead of this system being in a lounge room, it will be in a shared experience.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily the fact that people can't afford to have it in the hi-fi system in the lounge room. Like a lot of people who have hi-fi systems do go to these events as well.
March Audio. March Audio is a proud episode sponsor of the Not An Audiophile podcast. With a mission to provide superb technical performance and exceptional sound at modest prices, Alan March has designed a range of power amplifiers, a preamplifier, and a selection of stunning loudspeakers that you should check out now at marchaudio.com.
back to the venue you finished with the subsonic bass, which sounds cool as hell. Obviously, it's because it's so sweet, accurate mid range, big bottom end.
Yeah.
And so it's not as annoying to listen to for the patrons is the first thing I think of, because background music in most eating and drinking spaces is awful. Intrusive, nasty,
Fatiguing.
Fatiguing.
Yeah.
And that's part of what you're fixing, obviously.
Yeah, and actually it all stems back to something really fundamental, is like, how do you get people to feel dopamine?
Sure.
And dopamine, like, music is one of the easiest ways to get people to get a dopamine response.
Absolutely.
And
Well, you're allowed to, why are you not talking, Brad? You've got a recorder there.
Let me give you a little story. It's a quick one. One of my kids, they listened to one of my podcasts. Well, not mine, Andrew's or ours.
But you're in it.
And I was in it, and they counted 11 minutes before I spoke. And I think sometimes it's good to be measured. So they took the absolute piss out of me. So he's on the podcast, but sometimes
it might be 11 minutes again right now.
it is. It's about 11. So the key thing is that wanted to straight lob.
And we apologise for Brad's audio in advance, as we have had 2 microphone failures this morning.
Yeah.
And we're using emergency procedures. Keep going.
Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention about the venue and say the particular one you did in the CBD, often people will go in, and if they know if it's part of the allure that it's a great sound system and you're putting on vinyl, and so it's the ambience, the experience, as you would put it, that sense of I'm sick of the word immersion, but there's something about listening to really natural, organic sounding hi-fi system
While drinking alcohol.
Drinking alcohol, imbibing with coffee or whatever it might be,
Yeah.
and having conversation with the people. And if the music's right, and that's the dopamine thing, there's something about that heady mix that makes it conducive. And it's not often you go to a place where there's sort of music that's sort of not fatiguing.
Well,
the sound system's not fatiguing, but as soon as you go into a place where there's a vibe, there's anticipation. It's all about anticipation of going to this place, having a drink or whatever you're into, and if you're in your 20s or 30s, looking across the way at some young lady or young man or whatever, there's that sort of, and then luxuriating in the sound, and that's it. There's something powerful about that.
I mean, that's
an obvious thing.
That's why there's music in bars and restaurants, right? But there's 2 problems I have with bars and restaurants, and I'm going to ask whether you're fixing the other problem, Atlas, and then we'll go full circle and allow the listener to understand what the hell this has got to do with the future of hi-fi. The other problem with many of these venues, acoustically, they're awful, right? So is this very reflective, and of course everyone starts talking over everyone else, and you end up with this 110 dB of talking to the point where you can hardly hear your audio system, I guess. But and obviously you have a clue about acoustics. Are you helping people to fix that as part of your install?
I am. Interestingly, it's very hard to get venue owners to do acoustics, because it's kind of like they spend all their money on the things they can see.
Yes.
And unfortunately, acoustics always gets left last. And you definitely notice it when they do. Like, there's a venue we just finished in Adelaide, and it's like an acoustic ceiling, and they put it in, and then it's this massive church, and they acoustically treated the whole ceiling in the church, and it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So to your point, like, you put in a great hi-fi system, you got 3 people in there, and you're like, yeah, this is nice. And then all of a sudden you fill it, and you're like, people are screaming and talking, and it's like one person on top of another, and then it's just like this, it's very loud.
Yeah, everyone's trying to get over everyone else. We've all been to one of those venues. Yeah, it can be any...
Where there's no acoustic treatment, and then suddenly everyone's raising the level. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, so but back to the audio system though. So you've said exactly what I kind of know, having tried to help people with acoustics over the years. They don't want to spend the money. They don't see any value in it. And the problem is you can't demonstrate it. Whereas you can plug your audio system in and go, have a listen to this. And is that how it kind of happens? Do people ring you up and they go, oh, you know, I have no idea.
How does it work?
Having put audio systems in commercial premises, usually it's they need sound. They ring you up. They want the cheapest solution. That's clearly not why they're ringing you. They want a good solution.
Yeah.
Does that mean that these owners of these places, or these people controlling the spending of the money, actually have been around and they want to take it to the next level? Is that why they're ringing you, do you think?
It's multiple, each client is slightly different, but generally the biggest part is actually Instagram. Is people will see it on Instagram, and this is a big thanks to people like Ojas, who sort of pioneered this space.
Yeah.
Is that they've seen these systems now pop up so many times on Instagram on these cool locations.
Yeah.
That are very design orientated, and they go, I want to create a venue like this.
Is that right?
And so then they'll go, okay, and then naturally once they start looking at speakers, then the whole algorithm fed up, feeding them speakers, and then I will naturally.
That's what I was going to ask you. So I would have thought the way Instagram social media works is it's very much you click your way into a rabbit hole, right? So you like your way into a rabbit hole. Does that
follow? Yeah.
In the sense that you start clearly showing an interest in that type of thing, and then it just, it's still, there's got to be the postings out there, right? And there's clearly enough that you can create a rabbit hole of installed audio, pictures. It's hilarious that they're buying or interested in great audio from a picture. So they're obviously buying the look as much as anything. Your Tufnell, which we mentioned in your last episode, is a cool looking speaker. Is that, it's in some ways it's an old PA bin, but with a very modern hi-fi twist and a lovely execution as far as proportions and lines, and clearly it sounds like a hi-fi system, not a $1,000 plastic PA bin. So interesting. So do you go and do a demo, is I think what I'm trying to ask. Because that connects, historically of course, someone like Brad builds loudspeakers, they hear them in a hi-fi shop, they go yay or nay. How do they go yay or nay on your system?
And it's kind of different. It's these people, venue owners aren't really looking for they're not going to listen to it because most of them don't have trained ears anyway.
No.
And if they sit down, they'll be like, yeah, this sounds really good. But
Yes.
what they're looking for a whole experience.
Okay.
They want to be like, okay, what is the experience that I can create? And you say, this is what the HiFi system can do. The HiFi system can make people sit down and get a really nice feeling.
Just so that one quick question is that, have you been in the venues when you've finished them and observed how people are interacting and listening to the sound? What the owner or whoever's running the place, what they're playing, and whether it's LP, CD, and how the patrons are reacting to it. How are they enjoying it? Are they yelling, screaming, or is it quiet hubbub?
Oh, it's mixed. It's mixed. We've got there are two venues in Bondi that we've done. One is called Pocket, and you'll go there. Sort of it's mid-sized 7.5-inch woofer speaker, sort of mounting to the ceiling, and that place people are very buzzy. People just talk and they it gets very loud very quickly. Then there's another place on the corner that's got 8 of our speakers in there,
Right.
and people are sort of more subdued, sort of taking the time. I don't know if it's really the hi-fi system that creates that experience. It's more like the combined effect of everything.
Or the music that's being played.
Yeah, but it's also what the serving,
the look of the aesthetic of the place.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's actually pretty cool when you go into the places and you put a pair of speakers in and you see someone tapping their foot, and you sit there and you can just generally someone who does have a relatively well-trained ear, you can sit there and you can be like, oh, this makes me feel grounded, it makes me feel safe, it makes me feel a sense of familiarity of the situation, and that's what the power of it.
Yeah, and it's subtle. So if there's something, the same place with whatever they had before, and it was distorted or compressed sounding, or I get agitated. Well, naturally, you expect us to get agitated with that sort of sound.
It's just,
but when it's actually clean and pure and has a lovely organic sound to it, then that's conducive for conversation.
It's conducive for staying and buying more food and booze.
Yeah, which
that's the investment.
Yeah.
It's a business
and that's
decision.
the experiencing.
Yeah.
You go, I think that was enjoyable. Anyway, I just wanted to get a sense of what you've observed.
Patrons what makes patrons leave a joint? Assuming they've just got the afternoon to while away. Crap, like uncomfortable conditions, like the air conditioning's too cold or hot.
Yep.
It's full of bargains.
Highly reverberant.
Or
clatter noise.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's overly reverberant and an unpleasant place to be, and the stereo is crap. So you just go, I'm going to go somewhere else. This place is just annoying.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird that it's taken so long for venue owners to there was always venues with better sound, right? And they had acoustically treated the place so that it was a pleasant place to sit and talk. But geez, so you're a one-man change the world, one venue at a time kind of operation. Here's the question, other than the Hi-Fi show question, which I'm going to persist with, is, and this is the final question in a way, because it's a short, sharp interview. The final is...
news update, Mike Lenehan's latest design is in fact back in production, superbly engineered and built with the finest materials and components by Lenehan Brothers. Visit lenehanbrothers.com.au for all of the information.
Does this connect back to people buying, for those that go to these venues with better sound, some of these places you've installed gear in, your speaker systems in, is that going to, do you think, for those that don't own an audio system at home, are they going to have their ear turned and go, wow, so you can get sound like this? I wonder how much that costs, and then how do they buy it?
And
do you think?
I've had a couple of customers actually do this, so they've gone to venues and listened to it, and they go, I really like this, and then they've reached out.
Okay. So they've gone up and looked at the badge or something, do you think? Or?
No, most of the time they go to one of the staff members and go, what are those speakers?
Yes.
And
that's amazing, right?
That's your retail outlet in a sense.
And it was actually a kind of, I didn't expect that to happen, but...
that's where you should have some sort
I kind of like to think that it would happen, but you'd think the hit rate might be quite low, but you're making it sound like it's not too bad.
And it is low.
Well, I suppose it is the amount of people in the amount of patrons, but
don't forget, if you've only done this in the past year into certain places, it takes time to build as well. You'll start to get people coming potentially.
This has been discussed many times on the podcast, but most specifically in the Plinius episode, the new owner of the company was gobsmacked that the sound was so good from the product that he was, at that point he didn't own it. I think it was he was helping with the manufacture of it. He heard it set up properly for the first time. He's like, man, you should be selling more of this stuff. Anyone who sits in front of this is going to be amazed, and they're going to want it. You've fixed, and we discussed briefly how the hell you get people to go into a Hi-Fi store. I suggested perhaps that you would funnel people through it like they do through the gift shop at a museum. That's not going to work in the real world, but what you are doing is actually that. You're funneling people through a listening room disguised as a bar.
Yes. Surreptitiously.
Yes, I mean it's the answer. It's an epiphany, really. I mean, this is literally what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are letting a vast or a much greater volume of people hear your gear than would ever hear it in a shop.
Yeah, I didn't think it would ever go this way. I never could envision that it would, like, the direction of Hi-Fi would take me on this journey. But a couple of other points I always wanted to add to as well is one of the interesting things about Hi-Fi is it's found its way into high-end fashion.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's fashion is like, taste, it's identity. And
Sure.
you can't keep, identity and taste change. And so now what's happened is hi-fi have been popping up. Like you probably, a lot of people listening to this have probably seen a lot of these systems pop up in the Paris Fashion Show, events with Adidas, Nike, Balenciaga did this hi-fi setup in their VIP fitting room. Mm-hmm. And so when this happens, naturally people go, oh, if they endorse it, then I feel comfortable also buying it.
Yeah, right.
And so it's kind of like, when you look at Vogue magazine, people are shopping for furniture. They see this chair and they go, wow, I like that chair. It's in Vogue. I'll buy it. I've got confidence.
Yeah, okay.
So high-end fashion is shaping the direction of hi-fi hugely. And you'll see, you'll start to notice as well that a very select few of brands that are getting chosen for high-end fashion. And it's not the big brands that you would think it would be. It's not going to be, I'm not going to say the names, but it's a lot of them are boutiques. They convey a story of craftsmanship, of made, in limited numbers.
Yes.
So that's also going to shape how, what the future of hi-fi is going to look like.
So you think that there's a hunger, an appetite for a more bespoke product, more generally in a certain.
I wouldn't say
group?
generally that. I'd say people are hungry for a story.
Yes. Okay.
And
yeah.
the story includes the bespoke nature of it.
Yeah.
But then the story can be told in many different ways. Like obviously, what's truthful to the person who's making that speaker.
Not dissimilar to the fashion designers with their stories.
Exactly.
Yeah, they've got the story.
Well, some of them are super exclusive, I presumably,
Yeah.
and some of them just pretend to be. Is that?
But I'm assuming these creatives, in the fashion sense, the name is the powerful element, and the speaker designer, in a sense, that you have to have the narrative and the story to back it up.
Exactly, and then it all ties back to how you make people feel, and it's interesting. Like when we talk about the future of hi-fi, it kind of, if I could really distill it down, it is about the sound. Like the sound is obviously it needs to be good. That's a given. That's but the other really important part is how does it make one feel? Yeah. Does it align with their identity? Does it tell a story of I'm with friends, or I'm being out in the world, or is it whatever it is? So,
It's something I spend far too much time sitting around thinking about these things, because I don't spend a lot of time on a phone, so I use not so much my imagination, but I just sit there thinking about things. One of the things I was thinking about, I'm not normal, right? One of the things I was thinking about the other day was what is it that makes me love a brand? And take Japanese motorbikes, right? There's 4 brands, right? Everyone prefers one to the other 4. But is that a giant mouse? So which is it? So why do I feel like much like Yamaha, right? It's a great product, beautifully made.
Bikes, which makes you.
Yeah, well, just the 4 bikes, right? Yeah. Suzuki's all right. Honda, really well made, but Kawasaki's the one for me, right? When it comes to the Japanese brands, to be more polite.
Right.
So I'm not going to ask you about motorbikes, because whether you got an interest in them doesn't matter.
But
what I'm getting at is, so they outwardly appear to be all the same, but I not so much identify. But is identification part of it? Why do I like the Raw Edge? And they make a really good crane, right? It's bizarre because they're weird companies in a way. They all make heavy industry stuff, and obviously we all know what Yamaha make, other than bikes. So,
So what is it about?
So there's a brand for everyone in a way. So how do you even engineer a brand? It requires genius. You have to understand. So I'm directing this question at you.
Say it.
Did you? Is it all happening by accident, or is it happening by design?
Nebulous or not?
Look, this is the interesting part. Building a brand in the modern world requires so many things that it's like so multifaceted. But the psychology of what we like and what brand we like, it's really just a hero journey. And
Okay.
it's the villain and the hero.
Okay.
And it can be whatever it is, like, if it's a basic, hierarchy of needs. And when you distill it down to something like audio, which is not very high on the needs list, it's just for survival.
For survival. Yeah. Well, no, it's not needed for survival. But I tell you what, it makes surviving worth surviving.
And there we go. So then, that could be one element of this. And like you look at Harley Davidson, if you want to talk about motorbikes,
They're not motorbikes though.
Yeah, and if you talk, if you talk about that, it's about being rebellious. It's about escaping the norm. And then if you look at Sonus Faber versus, let's just pick a brand.
A big, boxy, ugly brand.
No, I didn't say that. No, I mean, Clips is sort of like a Harley Davidson.
Yeah, okay,
There's no wrong branding. Right?
Let's do Clips.
Clips is a good example.
It's not a slur on Clips.
If we do Clips and Sonus Faber, the hero's journey is, Clips is loud. You go to the page and it says, pissing off your neighbour since 1968.
Yeah.
So that's a bit Harley-like in the sense that defiance
Yes.
and if you have Clips like Scala's back in the day, amazing speaker.
And people love them still, and they still carry
They've
on.
got a lovely presentation. If that's the presentation, I mean, we said in the Clips episode that it's a particular presentation, and it can be incredibly enjoyable. And if that's and it's even more so if that's the presentation you're looking for.
So you were going that point about the Harley.
But the Sonus Faber is all about the way it looks, isn't it? Isn't it?
And it's
Isn't that
prestige.
Italian? Oh, prestige.
That's what
Okay.
Prestige, it's luxury, it's
I guess, yeah.
it's I've worked hard for this.
Yeah. And in HiFi news, there's been some changes at StereoNet. There's now, a whole new look. And there's also an extra section called Radar, which you're going to want to have a look at if you like to buy the occasional used piece of equipment, because it aggregates used listings of HiFi from around the world in a very nice way. Speaking of StereoNet, there is the Asia HiFi show, HiFi Expo, coming up shortly in Singapore, dates 10th to 12th of July. So book your airfares for that now. My question is, I don't want to get into the complexities of branding
We're talking about the future
the
of
minutiae, but it is like, what were the things that were front of mind when you, with Atlas Harmonic? Was it an aesthetic? I mean, it was a sound. Obviously you like a particular sound.
Yeah, I definitely I wanted to create that very full sound, full power response. That was one thing. But I also just wanted to create something. Okay, actually, here's something. One thing I've really thought about in speaker design is when you look at the front grille of a car, you can if you take the logo off, you can see it's a BMW, a Mercedes.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I try to strive for. If I can take my logo off, will it still look like my identity, my brand, my concept? But also it's a slight edginess meets design aspect. It's not super clean. It's not like, a Sonus Faber where it's got curved edges and it's like a Lamborghini. It's more of an edgier sort of feel. Yeah,
it's
slightly brute force, but in a rather
almost
polite
in a
way.
sense, a little bit like the cartoonesque, as in the Jim Carrey mask when they had the I remember rightly I think cartoon. They use cartoon type things for the loudspeakers, and the speakers blaring, or if the old Warner Brothers thing when they had a horn-loaded loudspeaker blaring. It's and that's what these younger blokes I know in their 20s love about that distinctive look. That's saying that is a loudspeaker. That's a loudspeaker of days of yore, as in 50s, 60s. So there's a certain styling impression that sort of makes its mark as.
Some of your, and speaking of styling, Brad, some of your other designs, the more domestic models, they do have a bit of that mid-century, simple, slightly minimalistic lines. Just a nice. I'm not a designer, industrial designer. I don't have the right vocabulary to describe it, but the proportions are nice. They have a nice fine line window
It's
frame
evoking
style.
something, is it?
Yeah.
Evocation.
Is there a mid-century interior in your life?
I love
Or do you hate
mid-century modern. Like even Art Deco.
Yeah. Okay.
I think those two things. But I think naturally as well, like I am sort of going to more of a modern look as well.
Yeah, a mid-century with a modern twist.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Yeah.
Like I'm sort of moving
Clean
away
it up
from
a
like
little
not
bit.
having any bolt holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so big rivets.
Oh yeah.
No big
Muscular
rivets,
approach.
but no big rivets. I mean, does it take years to really build that?
It was an epiphany. I was just walking down to the beach one day and I was like, what makes a speaker look like my speaker without the logo? What is it? And right now it might just be the logo. And I was like, hang on a sec. How do cars do it?
Yeah.
It was actually a really simple, 5-minute discussion. And then I ended up just making a grill. It's like a square aspect ratio. And what I actually do is I scale down the shape of the speaker to fit inside that aperture opening.
Yeah.
That's just the simple nature of it.
And the other thing is that you came in also initially, if I remember, and correct me obviously, with the speaker project.
Yes, and it's going to do a full circle because we're going to release. I'm in the process of releasing. The design objective is to try and make the most high performance top mounted horn loader speaker. So it's a horn on top of the cabinet. People love it at the moment, but you got a lot of multi-cells designs out there.
Yeah.
But they struggle to reproduce sound accurately, especially off axis.
This is going to be a kit or a speaker building project. Is that what you're?
Yeah, it's going to be a speaker project. It's going to be a workshop course where people can come and build a top-mounted horn, and then it's going to be a kit.
Brilliant.
And there's going to be some really cool. Like one of the things I'm actually trying to work on is have sliding rails so people can adjust the acoustic offset based on different listening distances. So if you're near field, you can move it to position A, and then if you're far field, you can move it to position B, and then slide it in between the ranges.
Good idea. Yeah, I do wonder about that when you see, like I was in the avant-garde room this morning, was sounding pretty good actually, but yeah, their horn, like the front face, would you call it the leading edge? But it's well forward of the bass unit, although it is probably more of a bass unit. Maybe their horn goes quite low, I don't know, but anyhow, you're like, what's going on time alignment there? But then I find out it's an active speaker, so I guess they can do whatever they want, right? But,
And where's the compression driver?
It's a soft dome, and it's or hard dome, but it's a dome, and it's still, maybe it's back in line with the voice coil of the bass mid, but it's such a big horn. Maybe it feels like the horn's too far forward though. But then it would probably feel weird if it was flush with the baffle as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also, I think, a lot of brands would do that, or like design will push a horn forward to try and get away from the reflecting of the actual cabinet itself.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Just going back to the point about the speaker builder, sorry.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you established yourself there, and then you started to convert those kits to, instead of having roll your own, you've actually tailor-made in the cigarette sense, and then started to build from there. So that was using social media to, no doubt, make market awareness of it. So so from a kit building sense, there was a bit of interest there, and then that translation of what ages were coming to you regarding the kit, for fuck's sake, kit building sense, and then when you started to do the tailor-mades, what happened there? It's sort of
is it
what age groups?
Yeah, different generation.
Okay,
or
very interesting about this. So, people who build kits are not time poor. They have a lot of time on their hands, and I never thought of that. That was like a massive foresight I didn't have. So the one thing that people have is they got time, and then obviously they've got a desire to make something. But it's typically people who don't have kids, or if they do, the kids are out of home. So it's either people between the ages of 28 to around about 38, and then it jumps up again to about people in about 55 to 70.
Right, interesting. and then you started to do your sort of tailor-mades and sort of have a little outlet for them.
And that was for people who were time poor.
Right.
Yeah.
And then people with like a lot of people who work, corporate jobs, have their own business. Like, I'll be honest with you, I don't even have time to build my own speakers for myself anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, I get it. It's like, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So people will go, I'm just going to buy a pair. So that's actually a big reason why I was like, oh, how do I build something for those people?
Yeah, interesting.
Two quick questions. One I alluded to earlier, that we're sitting at a hi-fi show, you're not displaying. You can answer the question honestly, dishonestly. I can keep it in or edit it out. It's your call. But this question actually dovetails a little bit with the other question, which is, what do you think the hi-fi industry is doing wrong to market itself to a younger audience?
Find the sound of your life by crafting a quality stereo system with the HiFi Shop, featuring all the brands you know and love: Riga turntables, Bowers & Wilkins loudspeakers, Exposure electronics, amplifiers and CD players from the UK, and of course Sonos Faber loudspeakers from Italy. The HiFi Shop helps you create your sound. Visit the team at hifishop.com.au.
Okay, to answer that question, from my perspective, the hi-fi industry is incredibly daggy. And it makes me feel like I've gone to, Kmart and I bought a pair of like baggy ass socks.
Socks only? I mean,
yeah, like
what about joggers and corduroy trousers?
And that too.
And there's mothballs. I mean,
sorry,
that's terrible.
I think it's it doesn't. I think that's what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big reason why the younger audience isn't coming to it, because quite frankly, it's just a lot of it's not cool.
It's not cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think hi-fi was ever cool, but people like yourself and Devon Turnbull are obviously
come
trying,
on.
right?
Sure.
I mean, you were cool in your day. I was never cool.
Oh, no, I was...
I was a nerd. I was too busy, playing with electrons. But anyhow,
Mine was a different consonant with a T.
So it's I don't think you can. Can you play with electronics and be cool at the same time? Maybe you can if the product looks cool. Yours does, Devon's does. But what the definition of cool is really hard to nail down.
Culturally
the
relevant.
older you get.
What's that, mate?
Culturally relevant.
Yeah.
Well,
if we spoke about it before, like you want to give someone a feeling, you want to make them feel a certain way, and if someone naturally just goes and go, hey, I feel daggy as hell, then that's a feeling that
They don't want.
And look, I'm coming across a little bit arrogant by saying this, but this is just my honest feeling, is like a lot of people wouldn't want to be seen with it. So it's not that, it's no longer like a price issue as well. It's now like, okay, I'm paying to be a dag. And it's also hard as well because you've got two different age gaps.
Yes.
So how do you, and it's very hard for a brand to build something for two audiences. You got to
straddle that.
You got to pick your lane, and you got to be like,
well, I guess a lot of them decide to pick the lane where the money is.
I think they picked the lane where the legacy
they
is.
presume it's lying.
Yeah, like Kodak assumed that digital cameras were never going to be a thing. It's not because I don't think people's lane that they choose necessarily means it's the right lane, but I think what's happening is the pie getting smaller and smaller for these hi-fi brands because they're trying to service the same group of people.
Yes.
But the bigger audience is, I don't know, just an arbitrary number, might be 90%. 10% of people buy into audiophile gear. I think it was actually, I did research, I think it was around about 8% of the population buy into it. And then the rest of the audience is forgotten about, or it's not targeted. If you really think of, what's more interesting, it is that side.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I don't think that it's serious hi-fi manufacturers with serious marketing departments don't want to cater to the other 92%. but I don't think they know what to do. They just don't know how to turn those people on. I mean, having a cool product or a cool way of marketing it is clearly what they need to do. But what is that? They don't know.
I think they do know, but the problem is that I think I've worked in corporate, you've probably worked in corporate, and you notice something is that it's very hard for them to change.
Yes.
And they've got all the cooks in the kitchen, and a lot of them go, "No, we used to do it like this back in the old day." So,
Yeah.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Brad. The wheels are turning slowly. Because what you're saying is super interesting. A couple of things, but let's just finish off on the HiFi show thing. Actually, the other thing I was going to say is really, so HiFi shops, they have the same uncool daggy crisis, do they, do you think?
not all of them.
No. Okay.
Some of them, like you're starting to see, like some of them are portrayed more of like almost like a museum, and which is cool. I think
Art gallery.
Yeah, like
gallery.
an art gallery.
More museum gallery.
Yeah,
like,
rather than just like
So less bulk stacks of equipment and more beautiful displays.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, they're kind of going like if you go to a Bang & Olufsen store, how it's portrayed, it's obviously and like Bang & Olufsen are targeting that 90%, and it's a very different experience.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of listeners will probably not buy Bang & Olufsen, nor would I, because it's just not it doesn't resonate with me. But
doesn't resonate because it's not a serious hi-fi product? Is that part of that, do you think? Or why does it not resonate?
Interesting. I think they've tagged along with the convention of convenience.
Yeah, okay.
And convenience and design. And I think
Architectural.
and if you really want great sound and you're from someone, like if you, like I will call myself an audiophile, it's never convenient.
Can't be convenient.
It's got to be super inefficient.
It's part of the thing.
Yeah, and I think, but at the same time, if it typically, if it's inconvenient, it's inherently good sounding. It takes that probably, if we talk about the future of hi-fi, that's less and less becoming true.
Yes.
But,
yeah. But then there's a strong interest in tube amplifiers, big, difficult to move around, horn-loaded loudspeakers. So cool and inconvenient do go together, I guess.
My daughter, by way of example,
yes,
she found a pair of big old Wharfdales that were out in the street. They're working, and beautiful timber, and she's picked them up and wants me, if I get round to it, hopefully I will. She wants me if they're working, and she wants me to redesign the crossover. But she loved it because it looked cool, and even the sound of it still sounded quite warm and full, and she loved that look, and so did her friend. So that's her at 29, and those other fellas I've been speaking about, they too, as I said, they like that cool of a sizable loudspeaker.
Yeah.
And it's not all about soundstage necessarily or imaging. It's sort of, dare I say, a soundscape. Mm-hmm. They're moving around in the room, not sitting still in the one spot. They're actually moving around in their lounge room or dancing or whatever. So it's interesting.
And
I thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah, no, and that's that. There is a strong. I think that fits with the mid-century thing. Is that bigger speakers were obviously what was around in the 50s and 60s and 70s because of technological need, really, lack of particularly powerful amplifiers, etc., I guess, and a lack of understanding of probably teal small parameters as well, as far as getting the bass alignment correct. But so is there anything else you want to sort of add? Like what you've got small speakers, but they're a different audience. I mean, that's clearly there for a domestic space.
Yeah.
But do you see yourself just going, fuck domestic, I'm just going to sell big, lovely sounding speakers to pubs? Is that, well, they're not even pubs, they're better than pubs, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think so. Like each time I listen to like the big system, and I sit down and like when you listen to a 21 inch sub and in your mids are 15 inch, it has a certain sound to it and dynamics. If you just can't go back. Like it's very, it's
They say that about some things, don't they? You can't go back once you've gone there.
I've got my hand over my mouth. Oh my god! I'll have to come and experience that.
Well, there is
because I won't be designing my shit.
This is not. Yeah, well, I mean, Brad does specialise, for all the right technological reasons, in smaller drivers. I mean, I guess they're easier to work with, right? But they do all the
Very hard.
They
very hard.
do very hard.
No.
Well, they do all the right things in theory.
Yeah.
But the big cone has a certain. This is away from the future of hi-fi, but not really, because the future, maybe it is bigger cones again. We went away from it, now we're maybe going back to it. It's got this certain presentation that obviously you're attracted to. Can you put your finger on what it is? Is it just the fact that there's this
I think it's too.
they're not moving as far, or they?
I think it's like the whole package. But if I could really distill it down, I think it would be they inherently have a lower noise floor, like lower distortion, because they're not moving as much.
And they push air.
I think the other one as well is it's their dynamics, but it's also like it's a slam that you get, because like when you think of like a drum and the kick, you get a huge amount of air that you need to push to get that bodily feel from it.
What do you call it? Acoustic coupling. It just couples that moves. Yeah.
There's a lot of people talking about bigger diaphragms and the charms that they have. That's all. So I thought I'd elaborate on that. But hey, I think we've covered it. The future of hi-fi is all sorts of things for different people, but you've clearly, worked out for you what it is, and thank you for illuminating what that is for you, because I think it's for people like Brad and myself, I think, have been doing this a long time, but it's I guess you do get a bit stuck, right? So to get a fresh outlook, which you clearly had, and I guess someone who's starting today, and I mentioned right at the start, Iva Tiefenbruin and Julian Verica, and no doubt a bunch of other people who started audio companies. They actually did start them quite young, and so they all ended up at the same place though, older. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but hey, thanks for coming.
No, that was awesome.
Atlas, absolute pleasure. Brad, thank you for helping.
Thank you.
Apologies, folks, for some scratchy audio. We have had a disaster with microphones this morning. No one knows why. Must have too many X-ray machines, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Scary thought. Thank you again. I'll let you get back to work. We'll get back to work, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Atlas.
I enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
A pleasure. Thanks, Atlas.